Our ability to measure the success of our campaigns by tracking users around the internet may be headed for extinction, and methods from the 1950s may be making a comeback. Welcome to the third era of marketing measurement. Okay, before we have a look at the third era of marketing measurement, let's just have a brief look at the eras that preceded it. In the first era, we used what's called last click attribution. This means that the last thing a user did gets credit for the conversion. Next came multi-touch attribution, or MTA. This method assigns credit to various touchpoints along the user's journey, and both of these methods rely on the ability to track users across different sessions and devices. But regulatory changes like GDPR, increased privacy concerns across the board, and Apple's implementation of privacy features post iOS 14.5 have weakened the foundation of this method, making it much more difficult to track users across sessions and devices. That means you probably can't take what you see in your ads manager at face value. But let's take a step back and consider something. 99% of ads are never clicked on. Think about it. When was the last time you clicked an ad? Well, even if you didn't click the ad, it probably made an impression on you of some kind and may have even triggered a Google search. And of course, 100% of non-digital ads are not clicked on because they can't be. But does that mean they're ineffective? Absolutely not. 1% of GDP is spent on advertising precisely because it changes behavior. And digital marketers often overlook this fact because they don't see that value reflected where they spend the most time, in ads managers. So what does all this tell us? It tells us that the digital marketing world has been operating under a flawed approach that relies on tracking users and clicks across sessions and devices, and that's going to become increasingly difficult and perhaps impossible. So we need to change our measurement strategies to adapt. I was recently at Meta for MeasureFest, where Richard Lloyd introduced the concept of the third era of marketing measurement. This era marks a significant departure from the era that relied on tracking individual users and makes a move more towards aggregated data and statistical modeling. And interestingly, one of the components of this era is marketing mix modeling, or MMM. MMM is a statistical method originally developed in the 1950s that uses historical data like purchases, marketing spend, economic factors, and so on, in order to determine the effect that marketing had on business outcomes. So does this mean you should ignore the data you get through the ad platforms? No, but it does mean you shouldn't use the ad platform data in isolation to understand your marketing impact. Embracing this era also means embracing a culture of testing and learning. Structured experiments can help us validate our assumptions and understand the true impact of our marketing efforts. In fact, experimentation is one of the 5 tactics that Meta recommend as part of their Performance 5 framework. This is really the essence of this third era of marketing measurement, moving away from a reliance on tracking individual users towards statistical models and blended data, all validated by experimentation. And our goal isn't to fix attribution, it's to continually improve on our understanding of marketing impact. For most of us who now take the ability to track users around the internet for granted, this change is daunting. The tools and skills required to succeed here are vastly different, but I think if we can navigate this transition, we'll become more outcome-focused marketers while respecting everyone's privacy.